Welcome back to the last episode of this week's episode or series, right? Our WYSP series, Why You Should Play. And today we're going to be talking about Fallout 4. But before we get into that, allow me to introduce my cohorts. Here to my far left, I have the biggest Zelda fan in the world, ladies and gentlemen, with the tattoo of the Triforce on his arm. It's Mr. Jeremy Bird.
What's up, guys? Biggest Zelda fan in the world, coming at you once again.
And to my direct left, who seems to not be paying attention at all at the moment, it is the host with the most, Mr. I'm Wondering himself, Pete Anderson.
Buongiorno!
It's still Italian.
It's still Italian.
It's still a word. What's up, guys?
Bonjour! There you go.
And I have the most fabulous ponytail in the business, and
It's
in the
the
world
best.
for that matter. It is undeniable.
It's
and
very soft, actually.
I'm telling you, it's the conditioner.
It is.
I'm Nicholas De Jesus. And today, actually before we get started, here's a thought. Is it possible for Bethesda to make a game that is not in any way going to remind me of Elder Scrolls or Fallout 4? Or Fallout, period.
I don't think so. They got their hands in a lot of different games, so I really don't know. Could it be?
You can't have Bethesda without an open world, whether it be fantasy or post-apocalyptic.
But does that necessarily have to remind me of the other games in their archive? Like, does Fallout, like, these are two very different games. Let's take Fallout and Elder Scrolls. Very different. The one is a fantasy RPG environment. The other one is a nuclear holocaust post-apocalyptic environment, right? Why do both of those remind me of the same game?
Because they are the same game.
But why?
Because
That's the point. Is can Bethesda break out of the mold and actually bring something new to the table?
No, it's the same thing as Call of Duty. Look at Call of Duty, for example.
Always back to Call of Duty.
See, but Tony Hawk doesn't play like Call of Duty, and they're both Activision games.
And normally...
Fair enough. But it's, okay, then I'll give you Bungie. Bungie, yes, Destiny is a first-person shooter, but Bungie is first-person. They played Halo. They developed Halo, So they did Halo, and then they did Destiny. They're known for first-person shooters. Do you ever see them do anything else?
Yeah, but that's within the same genre. What I'm talking about is let's take Activision for instance. All right, we'll go with Activision. Right,
Yeah.
we've got Spider-Man, that was an Activision title.
Yeah.
Right, and then you got Spider-Man 2, that was also an Activision title. Both vastly different games.
Yeah. First one was very,
So how is it that you get those two games that are so that obviously are the same exact concept, but they're vastly different. Neither of them remind you of the other.
And you could also argue the fact as well, and I understand what you're saying, but people love Fallout 3. What they wanted was more Fallout 3. That's what people wanted. When they had Elder Scrolls Oblivion, they wanted more Elder Scrolls. They got Elder Scrolls Skyrim, with a little bit of dragons in Skyrim, and Fallout with the new stuff they've been doing, where I think it's the companions, right?
Yeah, the companions.
So you have those new things. It's
But
just adding to
again,
a game.
you're
that's
adding to
established.
Fallout something that Skyrim had. Companions. Skyrim had companions.
yeah.
So
What about, Fable versus Skyrim?
yeah, and that's a great example. Fable
You
versus
said
Skyrim.
that a while ago.
Yeah,
I thought about
there's two RPG fantasy worlds, and both of them are vastly different. Now, obviously, it's different developers, but here we have the same exact kind of a game, right? Swords, magic, and dragons and beasts and all that kind of stuff, and
Minotaurs.
an open world. You can make any choice that you really want to, and you can contract sexually transmitted diseases, or you could get married to this person,
have
or
one,
get married
have one
to that.
family here, another family
Yeah.
here. And just,
And Fable does it so differently than Skyrim does. And in my opinion, Fable does it better than
that's
Skyrim
literally what I would
does.
say, 'cause I enjoyed Fable a lot more than I did playing Skyrim, because I know it's like with Bethesda and Skyrim, it's a lot of customizations, a lot of stuff you can do with the different weapons. But just I have more fun time in Fable. Just literally, I can make this choice, I can do this, I can do that. Versus I like the customization factor, but to me, Skyrim was just like, all right, how many modifications can you put into one game in a fantasy world? That's just too much for me.
It's Bethesda's bread and butter.
I know
Open
it
world
is,
is what you have to do.
But open world can be done in so many different ways. You don't have to stick to the same formula.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Mario's the same formula. It's a platformer.
Don't you fuck.
Yeah, but it's not.
Zelda's
it's
the
not,
same thing.
But it's not.
Oh, that's the
we're
one.
not talking about Mario. We're talking about two different games. It's like Mario and Zelda being the same exact
Mario
game.
has 2D and it has 3D.
But no, I'm talking about Mario and Zelda playing exactly the same. That's completely different.
Donkey Kong and Mario. They play the complete same.
Yeah, but has there been a 3D Donkey Kong?
Yes.
Yeah, it has been Donkey Kong 64.
And do they play exactly the same?
No.
You can't tell me that jumping
but-
in and out of battles and barrels and rolling.
What?
Yeah, in Donkey Kong you jump in and out of barrels,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it's a different. Even as a platformer, it's a different gameplay.
Yep.
Even as the basic platformer, Donkey Kong was much different than Mario. Mario didn't have nearly as many obstacles as Donkey Kong does. Donkey Kong is a platformer in the sense that, yes, you're going from platform to platform, but there's so many obstacles in your way instead of enemies. So I think you can do the same. You can do different games differently. Like there's something to be said about Fallout and Skyrim feeling like the same game.
In a way.
And it's not appealing to play a game and be reminded of another game.
Well, here's what I'll say. So Fallout 3 came out. I bought it. I played it. I thought it was really good. I fucking hated the intro to Fallout 3. How you have to grow up and spend all that time.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to knock the game in any worse way. Just, I hated that fucking intro. And as soon as I saw Fallout 4, I'm like, okay, I'm going to give it another shot. Is the intro different?
The intro is very different.
Okay, we're good then. Because
Yes.
just if I have to go
The
through
intro
another growing
is
up
very
age thing,
different.
I'll kill myself.
Actually, I don't know if you've seen this, and I would have thought that you would have seen this and you would have brought it up in today's episode.
Episode's not over yet.
That's very true. But there is a John Cena replica in Fallout. Somebody built John Cena.
Really?
Somebody built, and it looks exactly like
They
him.
That's
also have a
stellar.
Hulk Hogan look on.
They have a Hulk Hogan. They have who was the other one? I think that Hulk Hogan's wife is also there.
That's
no.
funny.
They have Skulder or Mulder and Scully from
Skulder.
X-Files. And they have who was the other one? Walter from Breaking Bad.
That's
Yeah.
that's
So
great.
they did a lot of nice things that's how vast their character creation is. But that brings us to Fallout 4.
Which brings us to an email from Paul. As always, you can email us at improvgamers@gmail.com, just like Paul did. Nick. Paul just loves Fallout 3. Absolutely adores it. But he's worried about the reviews and the mixed reactions with Fallout 4. He wants a big game to play. So he's between Metal Gear but Fallout, but he's leaning towards Fallout. Why should he go to Fallout instead of Metal Gear?
The problem with the reviews is the people that are talking about it. I'm going to tell you why. A lot of people, the biggest complaint that they have about Fallout is, and this is mind-boggling, the biggest complaint that they have about Fallout is that they improved the first-person shooter aspects of it. So now it feels too much like a first-person shooter and not enough like Fallout.
Wow.
But but it does not feel like a first-person shooter. You can choose to play it as a first-person shooter, which is vastly underusing the tools that you have at your disposal, because the VAT system is phenomenal. Or you can choose to play it like Fallout. Let me tell you something. They improved the first-person shooter aspect of it.
Nice.
They did not make it good. They made it manageable. If I'm sitting in a first-person shooter and I'm trying to cap off a headshot, it is nearly impossible to cap off a headshot. That's why the VAT system is there. All they did was, if you're in a quick jam and you need to use first-person shooter, you have that option available, and it's not completely shoddy like it used to be. It was completely shoddy. You might as well be firing from the hip when you were playing Fallout 3 in New Vegas. But no, that's the original standpoint, is firing from the hip.
No, I was just
Yeah. But now when you pull everything up to your face, like all the dynamics of that first person shooter aspect of the game work. and they don't work relatively well. They just work now instead of them being completely and utterly broken before. So people were confusing this concept of this is a feature that now works, so now it's suddenly become a first-person shooter. But just because you can do that doesn't mean you should. You can drive at your feet if you want to, but it's not a good fucking idea. Thank you, Chris Rock.
There you go.
So tell us more about Fallout 4.
So Fallout, all right, we start off at the opening screen, and already there's a little bit of bugs. I go to hit press any button to start, and I hit it, and screen freezes, and then continues. So I was like, all right, this is gonna be a buggy game. There's no doubt about it. If the start screen is bugging out on me, and it drops something, then the game is gonna drop. So obviously, we go into the game, and you get your character creation selection, which is vast. It is huge, and it's a lot simpler than it has been in the past.
That's the other thing I didn't like about 3.
Yeah, it is a lot simpler. So I can say your face is there. I can grab your chin literally and just make it bigger, and do stuff like that. I can grab your cheek and make it wider, or I can grab your nose and make it longer. Like I can literally grab those things and change the aspects of those things. So it's nice. It's a vast improvement on what they've had before.
You make your ponytail bigger?
They only have one setting for a ponytail in the hair.
Boo.
Yeah, I didn't choose that one. I chose long hair, draping down instead, because that looked better.
All about the look.
All about the look. So you go into your character selection, which is basically him looking in the mirror, and his wife is right behind him. So if you want to pick female, you can hit triangle or Y, and she's like, okay, let me take a look at the mirror. Like it's an animation sequence that happens. So you finish in the mirror, you go out into the living room, and you see the world before Fallout, which is like kind of a nice before everything happened kind of feel. You read stories about it, but you don't really ever see what the life was like beforehand. It's nice. You got the machines, you got the cars, which are all running on nuclear power, so all phenomenal. And then, tragedy strikes and you have to get into the shelter. I'm not going to ruin anything. You get into the shelter, you go into your cryostasis pod, you wake up, and you go out into the world. I'm not ruining anything at all for anybody.
It's the first, 20 minutes?
20 minutes. Yeah, I would say fairly 20 minutes, right? So you get out of your cryostasis pod, you're looking around, you get the first thing that you have to fight is a rad roach. Pull up my first person shooter, and I'm trying to fire it off at these guys, and it sucks, right? For the first 2-3 hours, I'm trying to learn how to use the VAT system.
Okay.
Had no idea how to use it. Mm-hmm. None whatsoever. One thing I'm going to say about Fallout 4 is they need a tutorial. They don't have a tutorial. They need a tutorial. You need to teach people how to play this game, because the biggest part of this game was the VAT system, and I wanted to use it, but I had no idea how to use it.
Do you know how to use it now?
I know how to use it now, yes. Everything was strange, right? So I realized, like I did with Skyrim, that when you grab something, I would go into the inventory menu, and I was like, okay, I have that, now how do I select it? There was no button prompt that said, okay, equip.
Oh, jeez.
Right? So there was nothing there. It was select, and nothing really was coherent enough for me to make the decisions on what I needed to do. And any things that are coherent enough aren't clearly visible. There's a thin line when you're in your base building mode. There's a thin line on the bottom that gives you prompts, and they change depending on what you're pointing at and stuff like that. And I had to connect a generator to an antenna, so that then the antenna would broadcast for survivors to come to my base. And there's a little thing that says attach wire that comes up whenever you're pointing at something that's electrical, that runs electricity. And I didn't see it. I had no idea how to attach wire. So I'm looking through all my inventory of things that I can use to build, and there's no wire anywhere. So I'm trying to figure out, how do I attach a wire? So nothing said, hey, hit triangle to attach a wire to that. All it said was on the top corner, attach a wire to the generator, from the generator to the radio signal. But it didn't tell me how to do that.
Oh, jeez.
So there was a lot of times where I'm just like, all right, how do I do this? How do I do that? How do I do this? And I had to learn how to do this stuff. So one thing that Fallout definitely needs is a tutorial. They need to patch it so that then there is a tutorial so you can learn how to do all these things. Okay. Right? There was great animation while it was installing, right? So I don't know if you're familiar with Fallout, but they had the radioactive scene and the 1950-esque, like, what should you do in a nuclear disaster kind of thing. So while it was installing, you had this it was laying out special. Special is your characteristic trait, right? Strength, personality,
Charisma.
all that stuff.
You can't have 9 charisma.
Yeah. So it's telling you, oh, strength, and it gives you defeat your foes with strength, and it's giving you all this stuff. So it's actually like entertaining you and showing you what this system's about. What I will say is it would have been nice for the install to go slow enough, or for the animations to go quick enough, so that then they could have gone through all the specials and give you the breakdown during that time. I always have a problem with those loading screens because they're trying to give you some information, but it never actually gives you all the information you could use. But that didn't take away from the game. We get into the game, and it gives you a great backstory as to what's happening. Great backstory. So you don't need to play the other games. You can just jump into this one, and it'll give you everything that you need to know what's going on and continue through the game.
Isn't the big tagline is solve the mystery of Vault 101?
Yes. That's another part that you can get into. There are other vaults that you can explore in this game. So that's a nice little homage to all the other games. Not that any of those vaults have anything to do with your game or any of the other Fallouts, because this is set in Boston and the other ones were set in Vegas or Nevada, and then the other one was set wherever that was. The frames were dropping quite often whenever I was in battle. So you're gonna get that. I mean, it's a Skyrim game repurposed as a Fallout game.
So the frame rate.
So the frame rate's gonna be shit. Unfortunately, the textures are gonna be crap at times. At other times, they're gonna be okay. They're not amazing graphics.
That's kind of not knocking on Witcher, but that's what we had when we first started playing it. That some of the textures didn't look so good.
Yeah, but Witcher is a phenomenally beautiful game. Fallout is just not. It's very clay. You can tell that it's very clay.
It's not a beautiful game. It's more for the combat.
It's more for the combat. That being said, the scenery is absolutely stunning. The scenery is absolutely gorgeous. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. You know, you have this big, wide open sky. The weather is phenomenal. You have clouds coming in. There's a radiation storm, which you would never know what that looks like. But basically, lightning strikes and you get radiation poisoning every time lightning strikes.
Wow.
It was phenomenal. Everything goes green, so you know it's coming. You have to get to a bunker or try to hide yourself. And the more protected or covered you are, the better your protection is. So you'll see, like, whenever lightning strikes, your rads they'll be lower and lower and lower. There's also like cesspools of nuclear radiation. If you get too close to them, you can you'll get radiation poisoning. Now, radiation poisoning, of course, occurs over time. So the more radiation poisoning, the less ability you have to heal, I guess. I don't know. I have no idea how it affects me. I haven't actually seen how it really affects the player in the game. And that's pretty much what I have to say. There's a lot of excessive little tidbits, right? So Skyrim, if you picked up a lot of stuff, you couldn't move fast, right? Or Elder Scrolls was like that. So Fallout is very much like that, where if you pick up stuff, you need it for your base building, but you can't move fast. You can't run. You can't dodge in combat. I got the junk gun. It was 26 pounds. 26 pounds out of what I think it's 260 pounds that I'm allowed to carry at my strength level. That takes a big chunk out of what you can do. Your guns are, depending on the size of the gun, it's like 10, anywhere from 5 pounds or 3 pounds, I should say, all the way up to like 15 pounds. So you have to keep in mind what it is that you have in your inventory. So I find myself going back to my safe house very often to unload whatever I don't need and whatever I'm not using. Luckily, I got some new stuff that I'm going to be playing extensively with, it seems.
Like that.
The gun modification. Oh my
That's what a big point
God.
was for me at E3.
Oh my goodness. I mean, E3 showed it, but it is phenomenal. You can turn a little pistol into a gigantic sniper rifle, or into a combat rifle that only does a pulse shot, or into, you can take it's like the same loading mechanisms, and you're building around it, and you're turning it into an assault rifle. And you can turn it into an automatic assault rifle, a single shot assault rifle.
That's
you can
disgusting.
turn it into, like, you can just mod the hell out of anything. So this little pistol suddenly can become an assault rifle. But that being said, there are way too many fucking pistols in the game. Like, now I have like 20 pistols all stored in my workshop, thinking, hey, maybe there should be some way to break this down so that then I can use the pieces for something else. That would have been nice. But of course, there's vendors that you can sell the stuff to. So everything that you get, you can sell to somebody, and it's been interesting because there's all that little tidbitty stuff, like farming, base building, farming, developing new settlements, getting people to join the Minutemen. There's all these like vast side quests that you can go into, and the lore of Fallout. Like, when I was playing when I did the Twitch, I just decided to kind of breeze through everything and not spend really any time looking for details. I just wanted to breeze through it so that then people
Twitch at ImprovCot.
Twitch.tv/ImprovCot with a K. That's where I was just breezing through everything, trying to like get as far as possible so that then the viewers can get as much as possible. I think I ended off at the Death Claw or whatever that monstrosity was. You get the power armor very, very early. As soon as you get out of the vault, you practically get the power armor. But I didn't know what it was for. I had no idea how to utilize it. So these are all things. I think the reason that they do this is because they want you to grow with the game. As you're getting deeper into the lore, they want you to grow and learn more about the world. And a part of that is learning how to utilize your power armor that best suits you, instead of telling you this is how you use power armor.
Nice.
So overall, if I had to rate it
What
based
did you say?
If I had to rate it based off of replayability, I would say buy.
Nice.
It's a buy. It's
I'm
definitely
definitely
a buy.
gonna get that game.
It's so dense. There is so much to do that you're gonna have a good time. You're gonna enjoy yourself.
Well, will you be able to answer a question regarding that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Who's this question from?
This is from Chris. As always, you can email us at improvgamers@gmail.com, just like Chris did, and said, hey guys, just recently I've been getting into open world games. A couple years ago I did play Skyrim, but I started to get bored because there was so much to do and it was too much for me. I'm really interested in Fallout 4 and all the buzz it's getting, but I'm afraid I'm going to get bored with that too or overwhelmed. What do you think, Nick?
I think it's very easy to get overwhelmed in Fallout 4. There is a lot of things to do. There is a lot of aspects of the game that they kind of throw you into and they don't really explain. So if I was to get an open world game, being that I'm kind of used to that world in Skyrim, it would be Fallout 4. But maybe Chris might be happier with Metal Gear. He might be a little happier with Metal Gear, where things are explained a little bit better. The world, in the beginning, it's very concise and very, very linear, and then it opens you out into this open world that you can actually start to appreciate. So I think Chris might be happier with Metal Gear if he was to get an open world. But again, it's to every user. Every user is different. So for the Skyrim Elder Scroll fans, Fallout 4. Absolutely, without a doubt. If you want to invest a lot of time into a game and get absolutely nowhere, Fallout 4, without a doubt. There is so much stuff to do, and a lot like Skyrim, it just kind of forces you to do a little bit of everything. So it's nice because it drains a lot of time, but it sucks because there's not a lot of things to get to.
Food's on the way, guys. Also, Chris, you look like a big fan of open world. So, if you want to know more, you could always see us on the Holidays Buyer's Guide that went on Sunday on youtube.com/improvgaming, where we talk about what games you should get for open world and what you're experiencing. But it sounds like I was very against Fallout. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
But you're selling me. I feel like you're selling me.
I think.
But I think it's got to be something where once I get through everything, I'm able to.
Here's the problem. All right, you're gonna need to take your time with it. You're gonna really need to pace yourself with the Fallout 4 experience.
Yeah.
So, if you want to play for an hour, I wouldn't recommend Fallout 4. But if you have 4 hours to kill, play Fallout 4.
It's something where after my backlog is done, after I'm playing Tomb Raider Until Dawn, all that,
if your
you
backlog
have the
ever gets
time.
finished.
Yeah, like it's a nice, I think, like January to February game.
January to, yeah.
Like a couple months where you could take your time and everything like that.
Yeah, I think that actually works. Yeah, January to February, where there's not really much coming out, you have some time to really invest
and
into the
just
game.
take your time and enjoy it. So definitely recommend that. And like I said, check out the Holidays Buyer's Guide.
You've got to see the VAT system. The VAT system. I can
they
see
brought
where
it
the
over from Fallout 3.
yeah, but I could see where the inspiration. You played Skyrim, right?
Yes, I played.
Okay, I can see where the inspiration for when you kill somebody and it goes into that slow-mo thing, I could see where the inspiration for that came from in Fallout.
Okay.
So all of that, like, it really pays it, because I never played Fallout 3. So Fallout 4 really, like, solidified Bethesda's niche in the gaming world and what it is that their style is. And that's very clearly their style of game, is that Elder Scrolls, Fallout 4, or Fallout aesthetic of just go out there and get as many mods and modify the hell out of everything and do whatever you can to just explore the world. They're not making a game for you to really beat the game. They're making a game for you to explore the world. So it's a very sandbox-like game.
I'm definitely really hyped to get this game. So
I think so for people that are willing to invest the time, I would say buy. If you can't rent it because there's just too much in there. So to trade it in, a year later, maybe. But I would say buy. It has to be a buy for Fallout 4. If you're gonna go even try Fallout, then you're either gonna buy it or you're gonna pass. There's no in between.
Very nice. I think that's all about Fallout.
Yeah, I believe so.
I hear the music is great. And how great that music is, I hear there's some great jazz numbers.
Actually, there are some great jazz numbers. You joke and you jest, but this is true. The music is great.
What are you talking about?
The music is absolutely phenomenal. But I think that what Pete is trying to get to is all that jazz.
I was asking about the music. But you know what?
Be sure to like or subscribe our video right there and right there. I believe that's where they are. Somewhere around those areas. And always click on the notifications button so that then you can get the greatest content as soon as it comes out.
As usual, also check us out on Twitter and Instagram, which is at improv_gaming. You can always like us on Facebook, which is improv gaming, space between the two words.
You could also follow us on Twitch at ImprovCot, IPGJBird, and ImprovCap. Make sure if you missed it, I did a live Twitch of the final episode of Game of Thrones Telltale Series, episode 6. So definitely check that out. And next week we got some good stuff coming up. A little teaser of how much do you spend on games and what's worth buying, and stick around. Make sure you hit that notification button. There's a lot of good stuff coming.
It's gonna be fun.
I hope you all enjoyed your Thanksgiving.
And please try not to get trampled out there today on Black Friday.
Be like me and shop online.
That's it.
And as always, game on.
The camera's not on. Gotcha.
Nick's face went Friday.